Radio Cardiff 98.7 FM.
Good afternoon. I have got Smoove on the line from Smoove and Terrell. Hi, Smoove.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing today?
Very well, thanks, yes.
Excellent. Right then. Well, shall we start by mentioning the gig down the Globe on Friday night?
Yeah, you just did that. We're at the Globe in Cardiff on Friday night. Looking forward to it. It's actually our first time in Cardiff, believe it or not.
Really?
So, yeah.
So, how come you haven't come to Cardiff before?
I don't know. I guess I've been quite busy in Europe. Obviously, you know, we do gigs wherever people ask us to go. So when they asked us to do it, it was like, yeah, of course we do. So that was it.
So tell us a bit about Smoove and Terrell. Who are you?
Well, obviously, my name's Smoove. That's been my nickname since I was a kid, really. And the singer is Terrell. And I've been making music for quite some years, like probably 20 years, to be honest. No spring chicken. And about 5 years ago, I met Terrell through a friend, just to record some demos for him, and then that turned into him singing on one of my tracks, then another track, and then an album, and then here we are into the third album. So that's kind of how it worked.
Wow.
Moving Terrell, then we started using a lot of musicians, like guest session players, and we started thinking we should do this live. So we asked these musicians, I mean, I know an abundance of musicians, there's a lot of people I know, so it was just picking the cream of the crop and getting them out there and doing some shows live, and then that seemed to blossom more and more. Because we also do a DJ show as well, where John sings while I DJ, which is quite a lot of fun, to say the least.
I bet. So what can we expect on Friday night?
I guess we're playing a selection of songs from our first album and our second album. If no one's ever heard the albums, then the best way to sort of sum us up really is it's soul music with a twist. It's quite modern, so the drums are quite sort of hip-hop sounding, but it's not strictly soul music, and it's not strictly hip-hop or anything like that. It's quite a mad fusion of music as well. You know, the guys in the band like all different kinds of genres of music, so it's pretty hard to pin it down, but I guess vocally it sounds very soulful.
To be honest with you, I didn't know who you were till the beginning of the week, and well, I'm being honest here.
No, that's good.
But you mentioned the albums there, so I thought, right, I better have a listen. So I actually listened to both albums straight through, and I was enjoying it so much, and it was getting to about 3 o'clock in the morning. So
Terrell overdose, yeah.
I did, but it is the kind of music that you can just have on and just listen to, and it is great, and it's, you know, it makes you want to get up and dance. I'm absolutely loving it, and I know a few of the other DJs here at Radio Cardiff have picked up on it as well, because it's just, I don't know, it's so infectious.
I think sequencing the album, you know, when we were actually writing the album, you know, I was quite sort of clued up about how to make an album. At that point, I'd already made 3 albums as a solo. And I think being a DJ, that reflects in how the album plays as in one piece all the way through. It's kind of a journey, I guess. You know, you've got really somber moments and mellow and then very uplifting. And as you say, like, makes you want to dance. I mean, that's a lot of the ethics behind what we do. There's a lot of energy on stage. I mean, if anyone comes to see us, you know, you'll witness that. Like, especially the keyboard player, he's one to watch live.
Yeah, I was looking at your website earlier, and well, all your musicians have definitely got something about them.
Yeah, yeah, they're a crazy bunch. It's a lot of good fun being on the road in the van with them, but after a few days, it can be a bit too much.
So, is this part of a tour, or is it just a one-off gig?
This is just a one-off. We've got a string of dates. The DJ PA thing's very popular at the minute. We've got quite a lot on the website, smooveterrell.com. All the dates and blogs and stuff are on there. But the live stuff and the festival dates are starting to come in now. We've got a lot of sort of to be confirmed. Our manager and our agents working on a lot of stuff for this summer. Obviously, we're writing the new album right now, the third album. We hope to hand that in 6 months, so then we can, you know, start promoting that as well and do a lot more live shows. But you know, we've been everywhere. You know, we've been to Russia, south of France, Budapest. You know, like right across the world. You know, it's been brilliant. The last 4 or 5 years has been really intense, and each year just seems to be getting better and better. So, you know, onwards and upwards, I guess.
Yeah. So, for you, what's better, being out playing live or in the studio?
I get a lot. I'm quite lucky. My studio's at home, so I get a lot of time in the studio through the week. My wife's really understanding, you know, that I'm allowed to do that. So I guess like weekends are sort of like usually when I do gigs, DJing, stuff like that, which is a lot of fun. But I'm more of a I like to be at home sort of man.
All right, okay. I've got to ask you about your vinyl, because I read here you've got a huge vinyl collection.
That's right, yeah. I started collecting when I was about 12 years old. I think the first record I bought was Shaka Khan, I Feel For You. And then I obviously, because I was into sampling music, like hip-hop style and scratching and mixing and stuff like that in the early days, this is like 1983, I started really, well, as soon as I got some money anyway, I started really sort of collecting, looking for samples, My father had a big record collection as well, but it was, when I was a kid, I didn't really like the stuff he had. It was like Rolling Stones, The Animals, Spencer Davis Group, Jimi Hendrix, which now is really cool. But when I was a kid, I just wasn't interested in rock music really. So that sort of opened up a whole can of music as well. Like get into not just listening to funk and soul and hip hop. If you were going to use samples, you had to look for something really obscure that no one had used. So digging really became an art for me, and I still do a lot of that now. In fact, when I go to Cardiff, I've heard that there's the oldest record shop in the world there called Spillers.
Yep.
And I think it's moved to arcade now, so I've done some research on it, so I'm looking forward to. I've got a few hours to kill on Saturday morning, so hopefully I can find that place and dig out some gems in there as well. But overall, I've got something like, I've never counted them, but something like over 20,000 records, yeah.
Wow. Yes, there is Spillers, and it is brilliant. There's also another record shop in one of the other...
Is it old stuff, is it?
I'm not quite sure. I know Spillers, they have a lot of new stuff coming out on vinyl, but they're basically the kind of record shops where you can get whatever. If they haven't got it, they can order it in for you.
Yeah.
Actually, talking about record shops, I'll go and mention the HMV shutting down. How do you feel about that?
It's terrible. To be honest, I run 2 record labels myself, and I still press vinyl. And with the Smoove and Terrell stuff, we press the vinyls on albums as well. And I have seen, it diminish in the last 3 years. And I think massively the last people who were using vinyl really were the DJs, but even that seems to have disappeared now because of things like Serato and Tractor, where you basically use a controller vinyl and everything that you use is off your laptop. So that, I think that's definitely damaged sales. But the HMV thing's a different public that buys the music from, like the kind of people that go to HMV wouldn't go to independent record shops, like, for example, but that's still a huge market. As people going in to buy, albums, like Blur and Oasis, really popular sort of music, CDs. And I think HMV tried to change their plan probably 5 years ago. They were selling games, a lot more stuff like that, because they saw the market starting to change. But, with HMV closing down, I think there's definitely another company probably going to take over, because there's still a public that wants to walk into a record shop and buy, and there's nowhere else that sells it apart from things like Asda.
Yeah, it's not quite the same, is it?
No.
I mean, for me, it was part of your formative years growing up as a teenager. You'd meet it on a Saturday afternoon down the HMV. You'd hang out with your mates, listen to music.
HMV many years ago was quite cool for me. I mean, obviously when I discovered independent record shops, that was it. All my friends were in there. You'd be sitting on the couch 3 times a week, drinking large amounts of coffee, and listening to records and talking music, or like that was what we did, and even the independent shops in Newcastle that we've got, there's very few of them left, and they really struggle, they're selling second-hand record players now and T-shirts and, stuff like that just to try and make ends meet, and online sales, which you have to do. So it's tough, but it does make you wonder why people still do it.
True. Well, I suppose people still do it because we just love it.
It's a passion. That's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And your first single, you actually put that out on a 7-inch as well, and it goes for quite a lot of money on eBay now, doesn't it? Yeah,
we were quite surprised. I think what happened there was it was one of those things, some mod played it and covered it up, so no one knew who it was. There was only a few hundred of them pressed, and the mod forums started sort of getting like really heavy debate about this. Like, some people were saying, it was rubbish, and some people were saying it was really cool. And so, we just watched this forum. We didn't write anything on it, but we just watched this forum about what everyone was saying, and it was great because it created like the initial buzz for Smoove and Terrell, really, because that was the first record that we put out, as you say, and Yeah, it ended up on eBay. Someone sent me an email going, your record's just gone on eBay for £166. I was like, that's unbelievable for a brand new 7-inch, you know?
I know. I bet you wish you had half a dozen to sell yourself.
I did. That was the thing. I only had like a white label of it, which I'm glad I had, and like 2 copies, and one of them went to the singer, so...
I read to hear as well that Craig Charles is a big supporter of you.
Yeah, he's been amazing. He's been like really behind us all the way, really, from the very beginning. Even my solo stuff, he was playing a lot of that. I did a cover version of I'm a Man by Spencer Davis Group some years ago now, probably 2006. And then he was really big supporting that. So then when he heard the Smoove and Terrell stuff, he was like, wow, this is great. So he's had us involved in, he runs a night in Manchester, a Band on the Wall, like a monthly night. He's had our band play down there. We just recently played New Year's Eve in London with him. So yeah, he's been really behind us. It's been fantastic. Basically, whenever we make a song, we usually give him an exclusive on it, you know, which he loves, and plays it on his show. Like, it's kind of almost guaranteed.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he's coming down to Cardiff in about 3 weeks' time as well, actually.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw it advertised, yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's completely sold out now.
Wow.
I know. That is, to be sold out this far ahead is pretty impressive, actually, to be fair.
It's great. It's very interesting to see his audiences as well, because obviously you get the Coronation fans, you get the Red Dwarf fans, you get the Robot Wars fans, which is crazy. But then you also get the BBC fans, you know, like the people who listen to his show and stuff. So it's a great sort of crossover of an audience. You know, you got younger and older people there. So
yeah. So you and John have both been doing some solo work recently as well, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, as a producer, I do a lot of remix and sort of producing other bands and things like that. So I put a compilation together, which was basically a lot of work I've done over the last 3, 4, 5 years, and I suggested it to the record label, and they put it out for me, called First Class. So that was kind of like an album to fill the gap before the next Smoove and Terrell album comes out. And then John has also done a solo album himself with Nick Faber, Nick's done the music, and John's engineered the whole thing to around his sort of bluesy sort of side of things. So very dramatic and lyrical, and, you know, more Terrell really than Smoove and Terrell. That's coming out, supposed to be April, I think it is. There's a single coming out soon. But I recorded the vocals, some of the vocals for that actually, and it sounded really nice. So John's very excited for the early half of this year anyway.
I also hear that you do a mean Chewbacca impression.
Oh, is that off the website?
It is, I'm afraid. You shouldn't put it on there if you don't want questions about it.
As a kid, I was into human beatboxing, you know, and I used to imitate all different sounds like lorries and car crashes and Chewbacca and all them kind of things. So I was forever getting told off by my parents, like, stop making stupid noises.
Oh, and now you make a living out of it.
Yeah. It's making more stupid noises.
So you're going to give us a little taster.
All right then.
So do you still do any beatboxing?
No, that very rarely ever goes in the show. Sometimes when I'm DJing, we might get a bit carried away, to say the least, and a little bit might come out then. I sometimes might burst a rap as well. John usually gets me, like, forces me to rap. Because I used to rap in a band years ago, and John's heard me rap, and he was quite impressed one night. I think he was drunk though, to be honest.
It always helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I am so looking forward to the gig. I'm certainly going to be down there. I hope a lot of our listeners are down there as well, because it sounds like it's going to be great. Yeah,
it should be a good night. Let's hope there's a lot of Cardiff comes out and braves the snow and the cold weather.
Yes.
Although it is starting to melt away, apparently.
It's not too bad down here, but it depends on, you know, you just get these... Oh, we don't want to talk about the weather anyway. Forget about that. Yeah. So, you're working on a new album. When's that going to be coming out?
Well, we hope to hand it in 6 months. We've just been in the studio recording a lot of ideas, and now I've got to sift through 2 days' worth of recording. Literally, it's been recorded for 2 days, so I've got to sift through all the hard drives of that, and then we're going to go in again and do another 2 days. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can, it'll either be really easy or it'll be a lot of hard work. But I want to hand it in about 6 months, so hopefully it should come out the back end of the summer. Fingers crossed. But definitely 2013.
Oh, right, brilliant.
I know that sounds miles away, but, most people take years to make albums. We've sort of got it down to 2 years now.
Oh, well, that's not too bad, though,
Not
is
too
it?
bad.
No. Well, I suppose if you're busy doing so many other things as well at the same time.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that, but it's also, I don't know, you've got to feel right. You can't just sit down and go, right, come on, let's write some music. It doesn't really work like that. Unfortunately, like, creativity isn't something that can be switched on or off, and it sounds like a bit of a lame excuse, but it's not quite writer's block. You just don't feel enthusiastic, and sometimes you've got to build up that hunger, that want for more, and it should be pleasurable, not like a chore, so, but I feel really geared up and excited now about the new stuff.
So do you write together or separately?
It's very different. It's kind of like, usually I'll start with a sample or just a drum beat or whatever I've got, and then John might come up with a lyric, and I'll go, oh, I like that, so but this time we're trying it from a different angle. We're trying to do it with the sessionists that we've used live. We're trying to co-write with them and see how that works. So I think the next album, it'll probably be more of the same sort of Smoove and Terrell sound, but it'll have a different twist. I think it will have more of the musicians' input, and I'll still be using obscure samples as well.
Okay, well, that all sounds good, and I'm looking forward to the new album, and obviously I'm looking forward to the gig on Friday night. It's been great talking to you.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me.
No problem at all, and definitely keep in touch, and when the new album comes out, I want to hear it.
Yeah, I'll send you an exclusive.
Oh, thank you. No, I would really like that.
Give us a shout when you're at the gig.
I will do. I'll come down and say hello.
Right, thanks very much.
Okay, thanks for talking to us.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.